Hey, good morning, Charles. I might as well start early. I mean, what's the no big woof. I will, though, once we get to 9 o'clock. Great to see you. What am I going to say? Yeah, as soon as at 9 o'clock, though, I'll put on my official little my little intro thingamajig. So hope you're doing better, and yeah, all your car issues are at least going maybe on the better on the road, the right road, I guess, is that way to put it. We're actually going to be maybe sharing some of your weather later on this week. I think my weather channel or whatever is calling for something like mid-teens to even like the low 20s Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I think that's getting close to 70 degrees or a little above, something like that. Anyways, you know what? Let's just put on my little thing here for a second. I'll slap it on, and then I can get straight to the live stream. We can have that nice music. All right, there we go, Charles. I love having that Morse code thing. Okay, so let me tell you what's going on for today's stuff. I think, excuse me. The Calandale playthrough is about 25 minutes long. I didn't do my normal little cheat sheet notes, but I at least have my regular live stream stuff, and I do have my co-host sitting here. He's been whacking me with his one of his paws there. He's under the blankets, and he's not happy that I'm sitting right beside him. But I'm like, for crying out loud, man, go somewhere else. Yeah, what did I put in that I wanted to chat about? So, yeah, I'll quickly go over. Yeah, he's already hitting me here. Jeez, come on, man. Thankfully, because he's got like hypodermic needle claws, and luckily this comforter I've doubled it over here, so it's hopefully it's going to give me enough protection. What did I want to? Yeah, I want to go over obviously the stuff that. Like the week that was from April 2nd to the April 8th, 1915, and luckily, like I said before, at least I started doing it last week, so I'm really darn happy about it, which is taking photographs of the map, so at least I don't have to use the webcam anymore, and that way I can say, okay, like on April 2nd or whatever, when I'm looking up, like I was saying, the stuff on the chronology book. At least that way I'm not hopping around. We can just go, okay, that was there, here, there, and everywhere kind of thing. I'm still using the Weltkrieg maps. It's not that bad. I'm finding it in conjunction with my atlas, which is really old. It's kind of interesting. So it's got all the USSR and everything still in it, and also with going to Wikipedia and then going to the Google Maps and so on and so forth. Oh, good morning, Meandering Mike. Charles Latora says he's heating coffee. So yeah, like I said, I'm like I was just mentioning to Charles, I'm just really happy that I started last week to start taking photos of the maps, so that way I can go around pointing to the spots for the week that was, rather than going around with a camera and having to getting all disjointed and stuff. I was also mentioning that the Calandale playthrough today is about 25 minutes. So I'm trying to figure out how to, wiggle in everything that way. And I'm starting to put in, hopefully, well, I did in the description. If you go in later to the live stream description on YouTube, at the very bottom you'll have you'll see all the links for the stuff that I'll be talking about, primarily of what I found out this week first. Okay, I'll give you one perfect example. And then we'll go to the History Heroes trivia. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I pick, I just randomly pick the cards. That's how I do them. And I was like, you've got to be joking me. This is beyond... Okay, put it this way. Here's your first clue. Your first clue is, this is so bloody easy that I think even anybody who's not into World War I and who barely knows anything about World War I could guess this person's name. Who am I? That's your first guess. And remember, you get 1 point for guessing, for crying out loud. But when I saw the card, I was like, come on, this is I don't know. It would be almost like saying name a character from Star Wars who's tall. You're getting there's not too many. You know what I'm saying? Woolly or black, basically. You know where I'm going for. Okay, so and then we'll go to the History Heroes thing. So one thing I did find out this week, and you'll find out if you go down in the description. And I'm sorry, Meandering Mike, it's not because I don't like the movie. It's because I wanted to get away actually from. I wanted to get into a proper foreign film for World War I. So I stopped. I have been watching The Lost Battalion. And then I stopped watching it because I was like, okay, I want to get into a foreign film kind of thing. And you want to talk about as foreign film as you can get. So I picked The Silent Mountain, which is an Austrian film, but I think it was made in English. I'm not sure about that. And it's about the Italian front, but not the Isonzo front. So it's way up in the mountains bit, where I guess there wasn't a lot of the Trentino. Like I said, I'm still new to all this. Meandering Mike says, howdy, Charles. And Charles Latora says, morning, Mike. Of course, they know they can read each other, but any other people later on may not, or are listening, I don't know. So anyways, I picked The Silent Mountain. So it's an Austrian film, or it was made, made in Austria and Italy. You'll see. Oh my gosh! Please, well, go to the link. Please go see the link. I'm watching it free on YouTube, and here's the kicker. And this is why I said talk about foreign. So I'm watching it free on YouTube. I'm getting it at 720p widescreen. It is absolutely stunning. The cinematographer is. And I hope to goodness she got a ton of awards. The cinematographer, her name is Daniela Knapp, Knapp. Like I said, you can go on in the description and go straight to the YouTube link that I'm watching it. And here's the kicker. I don't know languages very well. I'm listening to it. I'm thinking something weird about this. Like, this doesn't sound German to me. And it isn't. I am assuming it's in Punjabi. So I'm watching a Bollywood type of that type of channel that's dubbed it all in Punjabi, and the odd thing is the only time I actually ever get English subtitles is when Italian is spoken and they put it in English subtitles. But anyways, I highly recommend. I've only watched about half of it. This potentially could be, which is the irony, because I was talking about it previously. This potentially could be the first, or maybe the first World War I film that I may find that potentially could end on a good note. There's some lighthearted bits, like the Italian commander is a farce. He is farcical. It's hilarious, but in a good way. I can't explain it. It just I highly recommend it, even if I'm enjoying it. You know what? In Punjabi, I don't know. It's not bothering me at all. I'm getting the gist of the film, and like I said, the scenery is just. I'm almost to the point sometimes when I'm watching these mountains, and they're very different looking mountains than what I'm used to. That weird white rock as well. You know what I mean? That I guess the Dolomite. That's it. That type of rock. Yeah, I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, is this like real scenery, or did they do this in a studio? And it's like, no, this is the real thing. So I highly recommend just popping on over, even if, and like I said, it's a wonderful movie. I would love to watch this with anyone, really. I'll see if I can sucker somebody in around here that would like to watch it with me in Punjabi. It doesn't mind. All right, so I'll put in the first, and I was smart enough this time, so I can also put in the History Heroes trivia thing, both in the banner and in the comments. So I'll do that right off the bat, and I'll also read it out for you guys. Anyways, let me know how you're doing. I also want to know, I know that Charles Latora was mentioning, Charles, you're mentioning that you're, well, you've also got your rabbit miniatures and the sorry, not the were-rats. The rat army going. This is going to be interesting to see the rat swarm later. And you said that you've got the African campaign, the deluxe signature series or whatever from Compass, which I've got. Or no, I don't. I would like to get. That's right. I've got the Russian campaign one. You've got that on the table. And Meandering Mike, what the heck do you got on the table? I know that you were saying was it last night? Because I'm getting all screwed up now, or was it the night before? The Hex to Hex show there. I caught a little tiny bit of it, and I noticed that in the comments you were mentioning that you were either going to put on that that Napoleonics game or the introductory Tannenberg to Weltkrieg. So it'll be interesting to find out what you decide to end up starting to play. All right, so I'll read it out and then I'll go. Like I said, the first clue in a weird way is I'm so obvious or such an easy answer that even if you're not into World War I or don't know barely anything about World War I, there's a good chance you'd pick my name. Who am I? So that's your first guess. I'll give you a proper guess. Here. Where did I put you? Oh, I didn't write you down in the book. That's right, because I was like, that's a waste of time. But I still have it here, so hold on. Almost mentioned his name. Oh gosh, you know what, guys? I guarantee you're gonna get this so quick. Meandering Mike says I decided to do Fort. That's the game. Yes. Why do I keep getting that mistaken for the Napoleonic thing? I decided to do Fort Jefferson attack game next. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. To be honest with you. Charles Latora says once I get the car gone, I'll have a clearer mind and get back to real gaming. Yeah, I know what it's like. It's weird, isn't it? Well, it's not weird. It's the way our minds work. Just like like this week, for example, I've had an awful lot going on with work, and it's just amazing how I was not able to like almost compartmentalize that off to the side and be able to focus on this, that, or the other thing. But on a side note, I am going to say that I'm really relieved. Maybe it was weird. I can remember Meandering Mike mentioning this. In a comment or a previous video or whatever, saying that sometimes it's nice to mix it up, like a side plate of Civil War with this or whatever, and then you get back to it and you're raring to go for what you really want to get into. And it's odd because I can barely pull myself away from that table right now. So I'm pretty darn happy with that. Okay, so your first clue, and then like I said, I'll put it in the comments and the banner, is I was a very quick learner and made my first solo flight after only 24 hours training. Who am I? And I just popped it into the thing there, and I'll pop it into the banners. And there we go. And I'll just leave it on so it doesn't have to be a funky thing. Ah! Darn it! I knew it! I knew it! Oh my god, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. I was like, this is ridiculous. Yeah, of course, Meandering Mike gets it. Boom. I was all like, this almost should be a lightning round thing. I'll throw in the other, and I'll show you the picture. Well, actually, maybe that'll be the the shared screen, and I don't have to give all the clues in. That was fast. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't expect that. Well, yes, I did expect it, but I thought maybe I'd get one more clue in. Ha! Nope. Yep. Oh no, I want you to. That's the other thing here. Cancel. Yeah, I was almost going to say Snoopy. Well, yeah, maybe you should give you half points for that one. Jeepers. Okay, hold on. I know what I've got to do here. Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? Why? I mean, it was almost like Trivial Pursuit. I was thinking of like the level of categories, that they have. So I want you guys to see the actual. So where do I put it? Yeah, I'm starting to get better here with subfolders for all my stuff here. And I just gotta make it a window. I think that's what's cluing into with StreamYard. But I'm telling you guys, I can't wait to be able to spend some proper amount of time to work on a free version of whatever, because I really want to stop giving money to. It's not that I'm not saying it's whatever. You've done a great service for me, but I would like to. Charles Lator says I was typing wrong pilot, but accidentally deleted it. Eddie Rickenbacker. You know what, Charles, you're getting a partial point. Well, you're going to get points for guessing anyways. But yeah, it's Manfred von Richthofen. And hold on, I'll pop him on here. And I'm going to put it on full on so you can see him completely. And hide. I just want to see what you guys see. And there we go. So there, you can see hopefully the full on thing. And I'll bump it up so you can. Yeah, I popped in the model that I picked up at the World War I museum. So there you go. I'll bump it up a little bit so you can see the other clues. Hopefully. There. Hopefully I'll see what you guys can see. There. That's not too bad, I think. So yeah, that, and I'll read them out anyways. If hold on. So maybe you guys can't read them out. See them. So it says, I was World War I's most famous pilot, and the British nicknamed me the Red Baron. I shot down 80 Allied aircraft, more than any other World War I pilot. I didn't know that. I began the war in the trenches, but was transferred to the German Air Force in 1915. Didn't know that either. And the one that Meandering Mike it gave it to him was, I was a very quick learner and made my first solo flight after only 24 hours training. I don't know about you guys. We'll take a look at his picture, and my goodness, he was a good-looking lad. In 1917, I became commander of the Flying Circus, a squadron of top German fighter pilots. Meandering Mike, oh my God, he started as a trench soldier. Didn't realize. Same here, Meandering Mike. I was like, oh, like, how did that happen? I would like to know. I do know that. And there's the irony. Well, not an irony or something that's connected to it. Watching, I'm not going to mention, actually, no, that would give a little bit of the plot in the movie. But something that you said, something like that, occurs in the Silent Mountain. Charles Latora mentions, just realized I did not put my Avalon Hill Richthofen's War with other World War I games. Ooh, even though they made. Have you played it? Let me know what. I don't know anything about that. The fifth clue was in 1917, I became commander of the Flying Circus, or Fling Circus in my thing here. A squadron of top German fighter pilots. Number 6, on the 21st of April. Oh wow, just a little while from now. 1918, I was shot down and killed behind British lines. I was 25. And the Joker fact, I don't know what they mean by that, but it's sometimes they're really tricky and sometimes they're not. A British pilot flew over my German comrades and dropped a note telling them of my death. So that was interesting. Now we'll quickly go to the, so we don't kill, oh yeah, maybe I'll quickly show Baron Manfred von Richthofen's thing. Or do I have him here? Or did I pop him away? I did pop you away, you silly goose. Where are you? Alright. Did I? Nope, you're here. So hold on. We'll go to Wikipedia quickly. And I'll get rid of this. Boink. And we're back to that. And I'll pop you to here. And where's my return key? Hold on here. Boink. Okay. And let's see what you guys see. Just me. And then I'm going to go present. Flying Circus was an old SPI game. And it's available on Decision Games. I don't know if they've done anything with it or like it's just like a complete port or what they've done or what. And let me know also, guys, if the volume is wacky later. So there you go. Hopefully you guys can see that. So yeah, I think he was, I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure he, you know, was some eye candy for a lot of people. And only 25 years old, and my oh my. So anyways, that's that. And then we're going to go to, I'll just pop that here for now. Actually, we're going to end up having to go to the YouTube thing, aren't we? I'll have to go to my what do I call it? The live stream. There we go. All right. And then I'll stop that screen, and then we'll go to get rid of this guy, and then we'll go to the pictures that I wanted to show you. Charles Latora says, I played Richthofen's War once just to get it checked off. Okay. Yeah, I've never played. Nope, I've never played an aviation game in any format whatsoever that I can think of. Okay, what did I want to show you? The pictures. Yeah, and then we'll go from there, and then I can see if I can hop around a little bit. Present, share the screen, window, there we go. Okay. I wonder if it'll keep, yeah, it should always show me that window. All right, so, yeah, so that, okay, good. Oh yeah, I want to get rid of that banner thing so you don't have to see that. There we go. I'll go back to the comments. And I'll try to pump it up a little bit. So here is, well, obviously, for what they call here the in the chronology book, the naval and overseas operations. So this, I just wanted to give you like a general overview of the. Let me know if you guys can't see it properly or whatever. It's too small or whatever. So the only two spots that that was mentioned in the that I could, well, with, thankfully, because I was trying all over the place, but the Great War Channel for his thing that's for April 9th or whatever, he more or less showed me the positions where they were on the map, and I was like, good, because it was really difficult to find for me. So way down over here, and hopefully you can see it with my mouse over here, on April 6th, this is where Warband was taken by Union forces, and then way over up in here, the Germans were defeated, it says, as well, in Karunga. What else? Let's see if I can, I want to see if you guys can still see what I'm seeing here. Yep, all right, good. I just gonna maybe, nope, because I want to keep it there. So there's just, like I said, just a bit more of a close-up shot of that area, around that area, Warband or something. And then Karunga, somewhere around that spot as well. And then here is, now I'll go, now this is the part of the, where are we here, where are you listed in? So you're also listed in the naval and overseas operations, are you? Nope, you're listed in the Asiatic and Egyptian theaters. So here, up here, I do believe, right around here is Artvin in Armenia, what is now present-day Armenia, and over towards here is Olti. And as far as I know, the Russians are making massive headway into these areas, and both these towns were taken this week, back in 1915. So it's not looking good for the Ottomans. And there it is, just a little bit more of a shot. You can see over here, here's Erzurum, and there's Sarakamish, which, you know, the Russians have already pushed the Ottomans back. So holy moly. Here, I finally, it took me quite a long time, back and forth. So here's, I think I was mentioning to you, I was really trying to find, I've got to look, sorry, I'm not looking at the comments here. Charles Latora, 1972, a glorious year, finished high school, got my first car that December. Gosh, what the hell was I doing in 1972? Not that, that's for bloody sure. No, I wasn't even close to that, whatever. Okay, let me go back to here. So here's the, shoot, I got, I think this is the Dukla Pass, and this is the Uzak Pass. And from here to here, so this is after the third failed attempt by the over, remember, in the winter of 1915, where Conrad's tried to see if he can relieve the poor people that were besieged in Przemyśl. That didn't work. The people, the over 100,000 troops, basically 2 weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, surrendered here. They've now secured this this entire stretch of passes, the Russians, and supposedly, from what I was listening to on the Great War Channel as well, the Russians were able to get within a hex of within here before German reinforcements arrived and stemmed the Russians, like proper troops, as far as I'm concerned. It wasn't just like I think the Cossack cavalry getting in here. And also, from what I've also been reading in the chronology book, all along here, there's been what do they say? And I quote here: fierce battle at Okna near Czernowitz. Russians make further progress in the Carpathians. And severe fighting north of Czernowitz. So there's an awful lot of nasty business going on here. And yet again, I'm thinking this is, I would, stop the Russians, but I think up here, here it is. Those are the Dukla Pass and the Uzak Pass. Getting straight into, and so there's the close up there of the Czernowitz area. And this spot here, I'm going to jump back, is, if I can find, so this was on the 7th of April, it says there's skirmish between the Turks and the British, northeast of El Kantara, so right around there. I guess the Turks are still trying to cause some grief along with the Suez Canal. Sorry, I got to go back to the comments because I may not be looking here. Oh my gosh, sorry. Meandering Mike says Charles is old. I didn't finish high school until 1980. And William Arends, good morning, William Arends. Hello from Kitchener, Ontario. Sorry, I was staring at the full screen map so I could fiddle around. Charles Latora says, Mike, thanks for reminding me. And Meandering Mike says, hi, William. Yes, William, it's great to see you. And I don't know if you've noticed, William Arends, but since obviously you'll be sharing, you'll be getting even probably better weather than I will later on in the week. They're calling for like mid-teens in the low 20s here in Ottawa, and you'll be getting it pretty darn good as well. All right, so here we go. So what else? Here it says that where were you? Something about something along Odessa. I can't find it here. Darn it! But I think there was. There. Shoot! I can't. No, I can't. I don't remember what it was. Russian Black Sea Fleet engages the Goban and the Breslau. The Turkish cruiser Megidia was sunk by a mine off of Odessa, and I didn't put in. Here, but somewhere near the Bosporus, the Russian Black Sea Fleet engaged those two Ottoman battleships that were transferred over to the two German battleships that were the original battleships that got the Russians to declare war on the Ottomans way back when in October, and now they're called the Goban and the Breslau. I do believe, or no, they would have been called. That's what they are called now. Or they used to be called that, or something, whatever. I'll get it right someday. Here is where I think it was about the only thing I noticed about the Southern Front, and that was on the 6th of April. It says that Serbian artillery silenced the bombardment of Belgrade. So, and yet again, I don't know the full context. So now we're up to the Western Front, as you can see here. And that was, this spot here is... the Germans took I can't pronounce it properly, a Degration or something. But you're going to see where a lot of the action seems to be taking place. And remember what we got coming around the corner on the 18th of April, I think, is the Second Battle of Ypres. And remember, that was part of the grand strategy, I do believe. So look at this. You can see, and this is one of the big rail lines here. This is one of the areas where I think they were saying that they were going to... But this, as far as I remember, if I'm not mistaken, maybe it's further down, but I thought it was this spot here was the rail line that the Entente were mentioning. That was one of the areas that was really difficult, would be very difficult to take because it was really easily defended. And it was the other rail lines up towards where Frankfurt is. Meandering Mike says, Flight of the Goban is one of the few SPI games that I don't own. Ooh. Well, let's find out more about that. So here's this is all this area here. I'll just go quickly through what so this is like along the Argonne is a little bit further up. Hold on, let's see here. Nope. Okay, so this is all that area here. It says French on the 4th of April make progress south of Saint-Mihiel in the Meuse area around here, and in the Wouve district all along here. And the Belgians were repulsed up here yet again, trying to take the spot back, I guess. And there was more indecisive fighting. That's why sometimes I try to put the arrows back both ways, so that way you guys can go, okay, what was going on here? But yet again, is this jockeying for position for what's going to come in April? I don't know. Oh, and that's it. Okay, let's go to the... oh, sorry, William Arends says, I guess I am the old man in the group. I graduated from South Plainfield High School. That sounds interesting. An interesting name. In 1969. Yep. I would have been, well, it depends. I do... I'm not sure, but I think I barely was I think I'm not sure, maybe it was Apollo 12 that I remember having a conscious I doubt I remembered would have been conscious for Apollo 11, but those were big days back then, wasn't it? Okay, let's go to the Calandale thing, because I think I'm more or less we'll finish that. Yeah, I'd like to do that, and then maybe and then at the tail end we'll go into what I would like to talk to you about, which is the things that I found out about, which was I've been starting to look into a little bit more about the rail. I've been listening to the Great War podcasts on his special Patreon thing, which are free now, on the railroads. So I've listened to his Railroad Part 1 twice now, so it's starting to click into my head. And I've listened to Part 2 once, and about to get into Part 3, which is going to start talking about the Berlin to Baghdad Railway, which is I'm really interested in. Then I would also, like, after the Calandale thing, maybe quickly talk about the interesting thing that I found out about Radimir Putnik when I was listening to this morning, the 1914 Day by Day BBC Radio 4 podcast, which I said, you remember last week you can just go there and they're free. And anyways, I found out an interesting little tidbit about Radimir Putnik. I was like, oh my gosh, if that had occurred, that could have dramatically changed what could have happened. What else did I also want to mention very quickly? Oh, just on a side note, and then we will go to the Calandale thing, because it is part of the Silent Mountain movie, and I did mention it. So they part of the crew actually got struck by lightning, according to the entry in Wikipedia. The main actor, he played the protagonist, William Mosley, he got hit by lightning, and one of the camera people, she was actually blinded in one eye. It traveled through the freaking camera. Holy moly. What else did I want to talk? I think that's really about it. That was it. Oh, I will say, though, this about the Meandering. Oh, no. You know what? Screw that. There's one thing I definitely want to make sure we see before the Calandale thing. Is one of the links that I brought down in the description thing, and it's about SPI in an odd way. Because when I saw it, I went, oh my gosh. And it just reminded me of Meandering Mike's after action report of Quatre Bras SBI game from the quad, the Waterloo quad. And one of the links in the SBI, which I love going to, some guys just amassed a huge amount of material of all the SBI games, all the rules, pictures, whatever. And anyways, there's a bunch of PDFs there. Well, I'll pop it on now. Hold on, I'll grab the link. I'll show it to you. And it's a bunch of articles on... there we go. Hold on. And it's a bunch of articles on tactical tips for SPI games. And I went, oh my gosh, that sounds like Meandering Mike. Oh my goodness gracious me. So here, let me get to the, pop it on the, I'll pop it on the thing. But I thought maybe you guys would want to take a look at this at some point. Well, like I said, it's in my description, so you can just go and pop on over. And hold on, I'll go and share the link, or share the page so you can see what it is. And there we are. So this is the spot that I wanted you guys to see. So here it is, and let me know if you guys can see it. So I've downloaded these and printed them. I can tell you that much. So hopefully you guys can see that nice and big. And there you go. Look at that. I went, oh my gosh. This has got Meandering Mike written all over it. So anyways, like I said, you can just go down in the description if you want to go and download and take a look. And let's take a look quickly and see what the other, or maybe you guys can, share this tab instead. There we go. There we go. Now you guys can see this. Sorry about that. I just glued in now. So hopefully you guys can see that. There. And this is why when I saw this, I went, oh my god, this ever got Meandering Mike written all over it. So I think I go to this one. Yeah, there we go. And like you can see, here's the other bits that, so if you guys want to take a look at that at some point. Hold on. And so that's the biggie. And let's go to the Calandale thing so we don't ruin that. And then I'll show you the a few of the other things later. Okay, hold on here. Share this one instead. And okay, you guys can see that fully. And I'm now going to start playing. I'll start playing the my live stream here. We'll go to Calandale, and I'm going to mute myself. And please let me know in the comments. Oh gosh, William Arends, I'm going to have to say this. I'm sad. Well, you know what? I'll just give you one. If I give you a point, then you'll always be ahead of Charles. I'll give you a point anyways, because it's not fair. I think you would have got this so quickly. So I don't know if you noticed it, but the answer for today's Who or What Am I in World War I, the History Heroes trivia today was Manfred von Richthofen. And yeah, I mean, goodness gracious. It's like, you know, come on. So yeah, please let me know. I'll hit mute. And then, yeah, I want to make sure that the volume and everything is okay. So here we go.
Well, as we push into August of 1916, and the debacle of me misunderstanding the defensive benefit of the city. Hey, whatever. Hey, you know, they had that -2 anyway. They had trenches there. So I was really cheating against the French. I was giving them the -2 for the trenches. Maybe there's no city center there. Maybe I better check, because maybe that is what's there. Gotta pull that up and see. Yeah, there is a city center, which means... what is the rule on that? It's really weird. Like, I'm not sure I've ever understood it. I don't know how to even find it, but it's something like if you have a city and a certain number of urban hex sides, you can declare an urban defense no matter what, or something along those lines. I don't even remember it well. I'll have to look it up. Well, for the Allies, the English are at a point where they absolutely have to take some losses, so they launched an attack. It didn't go terribly well. They took 12 in exchange for 10. But that's what happens when you're facing the strong point, a strong line, is you just can't break through that shit. And this is, this wasn't a terrible die roll combination. It's just the Germans have managed to buff this line up so that it is tough to get a good strike on it. These areas where there are 3 hexes able to hit the line, well, they're just not. They're not at all weak, and so we went with a 2 hex location, which was a little weaker, thinking it'll take less damage back, but it didn't work out at all well. The French don't want to launch an attack yet, but they are kind of beginning to shift their artillery back here again into position to maybe make a strike on this. Now, this is an incredibly strong position. They could conceivably go after this or this as well. It's just a matter of putting all the stress in one place on the German line. But the Germans have a very easy way of reacting to that. The only thing they can't really do is make the shift across this line. Because of the fall of Luxembourg, they no longer have a rail net that allows them to connect these 2 sides of the army very well. So there's always I can annoyingly shift a unit all the way down the line. That can cause some disruption, but mainly the reason I don't do it is because it's so fucking annoying. Anyway, might have to. It's certainly been an issue with the artillery, shifting the German artillery back. The Germans were thinking about an offensive over here in the south, but if they're going to be forced, if the Brits are going to have to do what they actually do have to do, which is kill off a bunch of British by launching offensive after offensive after offensive, it's going to be probably enough to keep the German numbers on supply fairly low. I haven't done an adding. I really hate adding and counting everything in these large numbers. That's something, that when you're adding up firepower values in something like Empires and Arms, it's pretty easy because you got these big counters. I got 20 here, 20 here. You got them stacked in numbers that are easy to deal with. Here, you got these big stacks you got to paw through overall. You have to deal with the counting there. Constantly I'm running totals to see, will I die? Will I lose the game if I make it to the end of this month, if I don't do something? And part of that is, even if I allow a certain amount of fudging, but even with that, if I go over at the end of the month because of an extreme error, well, it could be large enough that I have to just launch attacks all along the front and spend so much supply there that they would be terrible attacks. The great English assault on this hex is continuing. Massive amounts of firepower, 113 points firing in there on 2 hexes. That's pretty impressive. I pulled some French artillery and I'm bringing more in. But here's the problem. The British supply expenditures have pretty much outstretched their capacity and what they had built up. They need to attack, though. I may be making half-strength attacks without supply, and historically the British did make assaults without artillery support at certain points, and I think this is forcing that kind of situation. Talk about an unpleasant play to have to make. If I had supplies, I would be able to do a lot of damage here. Just the Germans are having trouble shifting stuff in. Now, I look around and I find other areas where there are a lot of troops kind of kicking around that aren't in any danger, and I could pull some of those big units out and strengthen the British line. But I think the British can't really afford. They can maybe do one more attack, max. They've got, 8, 13, 19, 21 points. That's about what they're spending each turn attacking. Now, I don't know where they're going to burn their reinforcements, their replacement points. if they don't join in an attack. I can't use French supplies for this. That's disallowed. The Belgians can be resupplied by the French, but the Brits cannot, as far as I can see. I tried to look for that. I found the one, so I assume the other one would be there if it was. But yeah, this is pretty much a real problem, because if the Brits have to attack at half strength, boy, are they going to be in trouble. They're already still losing, more in the attacks, even at full strength. So I may just say, well, the hell with some of my replacement points, because it's not worth taking that kind of losses to my demoralization. It's better to, just burn the points of the extra troops. And indeed, the Brits called off their little offensive here. The French pulled back into Paris, helped defend it in case the Germans decide to be cute and try to do some kind of bombardment against a hex side like this. It's still going to be troublesome, but if there's no artillery to respond, it's worth burning supply points to kill things. That's generally a good idea. I've been looking along the front here, trying to dig up fortresses that I can bombard. But the French are trying to put their artillery on those forts, and they could quickly replace them. So it's kind of like, I'll tell you what, you ignore my forts and as much as you can, and it'll save us both some effort, right? They're under my cannons. Just pretend that's the case. It's not really the truth. But, if the Germans, it takes them such a hard job to get their artillery into place that it's almost not worth it, Certainly if I was playing it very seriously, I would worry about stuff like that. But this game isn't worth playing very seriously. It really isn't. It's too damned annoying. And, I don't mind a big monster that you don't feel like you're giving something up. But this one, you feel like you're giving something up by screwing up and stuff on it. And this is kind of one of my worries that I have. I've played a couple of the OCS. Well, no, I've only played Burma, I think. It's one of my worries, especially with my newest OCS, which is Blitzkrieg Legend up here. That may be the test that determines for me that I'm going to stay away from the OCS. For similar kind of reasons. It's so damn much effort to worry about all the supplies and everything. And I saw Hipshot playing this, Kevin. And I was just thinking, my God, you're thrown in right from the beginning with so much stuff that I don't think I'm ready to move from Burma right to Blitzkrieg Legend. It looked too big. I think I'm more tempted to look at Tunisia or maybe Dak, which are definitely more scenarios to my liking. But I wanted to grab Blitzkrieg Legend because it's more interesting to me than the East Front stuff, and I have some of that anyway. All right, well, on with this. And the French launch a massive assault here. Only 92 strength points, a lot of counters in there, a lot of shifting. It was kind of a surprise for the Germans. Although it was obvious the French were going to do something over here. It looked like maybe they were going to shift to here because the Germans had some problems with their Alpine, their mountain units. Ended up being withdrawn on me, and they were holding this pass over here, so I had to shift things around a little bit. It looked like it was maybe that motion was causing things, and I thought maybe a hit in the mountains. Well, the weak spot was Luneville, and the Germans got hit there down to 1 strength point, but the French rolled a 6. So there was no possibility of them breaking through, and I didn't intend it, but they did 15 points of damage to 9, which is a good trade-off. Kind of the best you can do. They burnt some supply. And really what they're looking at is the German lines are weakening through withdrawals, the withdrawal of the Alpine units. They had a guards unit withdrawn this last turn. Just, it's getting stretched thinner and thinner to the point where some of these opportunities are coming up. Even if you can't get the breakthrough, at least you can do some damage and advance into these areas, the plain here towards the Sauerbach. And that's all very, very, enticing. Anyway, that's the end of this this month, August. Well, son of a bitch. Now, so I was looking for the tank rules, which are not in the standard rules for the system, even though you'd think tanks actually were used, other than just in the other than just in the French front, certainly the Italian front, there was significant use of tanks, which means they have to be added into that rule. One might assume maybe they're handled differently there. And I ran into something that I had forgotten about, the gas rules. Okay, great. How does gas work? Well, I had remembered this line, gas counters are received as reinforcements only in the campaign game, and had been waiting for gas to show up, and kind of forgot about it. What I never did after reading that, assuming they would be in the manifest, was read the rest of the gas rules. I figured it would say you get a gas rule here. Well, starting with the first monthly turn of the game, September 1914, each player rolls 2 dice to determine if gas is received. On a 2 or 12, the German player gets one. On a 2, the Entente gets one. Okay, so the chances are low, and probability is that I would not have gotten an effective gas attack counter. But I've been ignoring it. So whatever. Next year I'll start rolling for gas, I guess. I gotta look up what the tank rules do. But I don't think they're terribly valuable yet. So instead of the historical testing out tanks in quantities so as to be able to understand their weaknesses, I think this game more or less says, well, they'll improve, just leave them alone. Don't use them at this point. Because chances are when you move them, they're going to break down, for example. I'll look for the rest of it, but yeah, it looks, I believe they just help an attack, and they help the opportunity to push a retreat out. So there may be enough value to actually throw them in early. I'm looking at the possibility of an English attack. I'm definitely going to be doing a French attack, which oddly enough has shifted down to here. This I don't really consider to be a major kind of shift of the sector, the way I've generally done, where I'm flashing between one section of the front and another for my offensives, just because one section gets weakened. Here it's more of a lateral shift of the offensive, one that's kind of believable, although the Allies tended to do this a lot less than the Germans. I feel like the game allows enough flexibility for the Germans to shift their attack anywhere along the front where they have rails linking. Luxembourg now being broken prevents them from shifting from this southern area to the northern area, but the Allies are still fairly able to conglomerate enough troops. These aren't high-quality troops. I don't have the best attack possible, but this is a very weak spot. Of course, there's also the -3 due to the terrain. It goes all the way up to -4. The trenches can't take it beyond that. But there's such a weak unit there, I'm hoping to get lucky and bust it out of there. Well, in terms of ground gained, this has been a real breakthrough turn. The English struck this space, weak space for the Germans, twice. Boom, boom. They can do that because they can do the mobile attack once, and then they're allowed to attack again with the same units. They had a big stack there. They couldn't knock it out with one hit. This is often, I think, the way to do things. Start an attack with a single mobile attack and then hit it with a combined attack. Often, though, the one time that I did it before, that was, I think, somewhat successfully. The first attack then was leveraged in a second attack. What's really great is when that first attack succeeds completely and gets a breakthrough, then the second attack can roll the front. And that's usually what I've held off for. But just trying to soften the front so that you can hit it harder is useful. In this case, it was a clear case where I had enough troops that 2 hits looked like it would break it. And that indeed happened. And now the Germans have to deal with a collapse here, which their Hindenburg line doesn't terribly help them with, except for getting them more troops to put into play. They may have to fall back. Of course, it doesn't exist yet, so that fallback could be kind of painful. they got another month they got to survive without relying on it. Likewise, the French here, they didn't do that double hit. They managed to shift their 2 units into a very weak spot and break through. The mountains were not sufficient to defend it. The Germans got pushed back here. And this has been a serious turn for losses, both in manpower and in terms of the front situation deteriorating with those lines breaking. That's really not a good sign for the Germans. I think they're going to have to fall back some over here, and they're in some real trouble. So the German reactions to the breakthrough, first here, they've pushed to try to take advantage of the terrain as much as possible. But here, they were able to launch a massive attack around here and push the Brits back. And here's the thing, the Brits are out of supply now. The Germans don't know this, otherwise they would probably take advantage of it in a later attack. But the Brits are down to 2 supply points. They spent a massive amount on the attack, some on the defense. They're out. And it looks like nothing happened on this front, essentially. The Germans managed to push back. This is what I wanted from the game. And perhaps the fact that I can push this with some effort as the Allies, maybe this is what should be happening, where one side's hitting, doing a lot of damage, but then they end up in a position where they're vulnerable. And the Germans, though, had to strip their lines to get that attack on there. So now there's weaknesses up here. So they're kind of sitting on the edge of their seat, thinking that, okay, we're not going to hit here again, even though that's a weak spot without entrenchments in place. But that'll be a weak spot for a while. No reason to hit it right now while it's full of troops. Wait and see if it ends up being, denuded a little. Shift the attack over, to one of these places. Unfortunately, the Brits are out of supply, so they can't launch this attack. Well, they could, but the advantages would no longer accrue to them. So they're going to have to pull back, start recuperating troops. And in a lot of ways, I think the fact that they're out of supply will be apparent to the Germans from that action. Not trying to press this advantage might just indicate to the Germans that, well, if they're not willing to, there's a reason, and if there's any opportunity, it's time to go for it. But I don't think there will be an opportunity. That line is so solid and so powerful that even hitting it at half strength for lack of supply, it's just not worth doing. The French are a bigger problem, though, and I don't know if they're going to be able to extend their assaults. Well, the English indeed did nothing, but there's some interesting factors happening over on the French front. On the French side of things, in the Vosges, they've pushed into another trench hex over here, shifting their attack down. They didn't even use the artillery. There was just 2 strength points there. Their goal is Mulhouse. If they can take that, then they can start marching the rail line up. Without that, the Vosges is useless. There's no rails. They have to get either this line or this line going through. And that's really why this has not been defended and why it's easy to break through, because there's no real great gain to it. But, well, it's kind of nice to put that additional threat to push the German line further. It may just mean that this entire section has to fall back to the Hindenburg line as per the appropriate date. It's just the attack's not happening on the bulge here. Well, the French are continuing their assaults and actually widening them. They're pushing down deeper to the south here, trying to get to the Mulhouse hex. They attacked here. This, I don't think they had a chance of breaking. But then they also launched another attack against Luneville, which the Germans were seriously considering pulling out of. That's an extension to their line that doesn't really help them. The Germans got kind of lucky there, though, and dealt out as much damage as they took, even though they're surrounded by 4 hexes. The French war machine over here is not all that strong. Most of the French strength is up in here, with a significant portion here. They're just beginning to push into this direction. And so, this is kind of a clash of 2 smaller smaller sector of the front in terms of the forces that both sides bring to play. I've got to still handle my replacement points with the Brits. So the Germans give up the Luneville space. They can't keep holding that. The dual attack last turn made that clear, and they've moved to a much smoother line. Obviously, they can't fall back to the Hindenburg line yet. Whether or not they will, I'm not sure. But that would free up more troops. But how much advantage is there to a situation like this? This was really more the surprise attack. The French were able to get enough force into play in that one point to dislodge things. Luneville, Germans could keep committing to it, but it isn't terribly valuable except as a staging point to make attacks against French territory, which the Germans feel like they're on the defensive at this point. And the French continue trying to punch a hole up here, and they drive it within one. I don't think they had a real chance of breaking the line again. There were a lot of questions. Focusing all their strength there allowed them to kind of balance things out, so it wasn't too unreasonable here. I was also considering an attack here to try to take the Mulhouse. That was difficult, the possibility of an attack here. Just anywhere on that front, this seemed like the best option. And again, it's going to force the Germans to shake up their line and continually push more units in. The French are getting a slight advantage in terms of casualties. It was 5-4. That's it's often to the advantage to attack in this because you get more force against the opponent. There's no real balancing of the overall battle the way most of these historical battles went, where they started out well, like these do. But then, yeah, if the defender starts throwing more troops in, it becomes not worth continuing the fight. And in the game, you can stop. In the real war, that kind of stopping didn't happen. That kind of shifting, looking for another opportunity to attack. That didn't really happen. They kept hitting the same salient again and again and again. Well, here in the fifth turn, into the fifth turn of September, the French have called off their assault here. They may restart it. They have points to do so. They've allocated actually their supplies over there. But they're not in position. They need to recuperate some of these forces. It may take a couple of turns before they're in position to attack again. But this is still a fairly weak area along the German line. And, well, the one thing playing against it, the Germans are getting a bunch of troops. And they got a bunch this turn. So, I don't know how likely it is that the French will be continuing the assault. But for now, they've definitely called it off. The Germans have no real desire to move forward. They're point-wise. I have to count them up and make sure they're not running over. If they are, they have to do something. So yeah, the time may be passing for this offensive. The French are still collecting up for it, still trying to recuperate their troops, see if they can get another punch through, maybe a winter attack or something. But, you know, the Germans see that. They've been thickening their line. It does bring one interesting thing to point out. This little unit here, that's a Russian unit. One of the few, I don't know a lot about many of the units, but that was one of the few things the Kerensky government sent it over to the West as kind of a sign of solidarity and being able to show that Russia is still doing strong and well. And then the revolution happens, and they were stuck over on the West Front and continued fighting for a while, actually. I don't remember how they're eventually disposed, but I think they did get eventually sent back to Russia. And the French indeed open up the attack again here after a few days break. And, you know, not planning on breaking it. This is some of the worst terrain on the board. -4, +4. Decent-sized German unit, an 8 unit. They're not going to push it out of the way. But they're just hitting them because the return fire isn't that terrible. The modifier for the terrain doesn't compare to facing larger strengths. It's not possible that they could knock the unit out. They got the highest roll they could, did 6 points of losses. It ends up being 7 because of the size of the unit. But they're really just trying to, you know, continue striking and continue striking. If they pull the Germans out of off of the northern area, well, then the English, who have to strike anyway soon, they're really struggling in terms of trying to, you know, they've got all these replacement points they don't have anything to do with. Anyway, they don't have the supplies to do it, so the French are keeping up the pressure. The English will hit with a second blow later, although this line has not weakened yet. All right, up it goes.
All right, guys. So I'll show you one more place before we zip off into Wonderland, because I know that, like I mentioned to you, Rob's going to be showing up in about an hour, and I'd like to kind of decompress or whatever. But there is one website I really would like to show you guys, because I just found it this week, and it seems like it's going to be one of those rabbit hole places that I'm going to it's just got so much stuff in it. Hold on. I'll go to the... There, and I'll make sure you can see it. Hold on. I'm just going to put myself really dinky here. All right. Present. Share screen. This guy here. So it's called the World War I Document Archive. Like I said, I just started getting into this. Like just a few days ago. It looks fantastic. What the heck did I... Oh, darn it. There was one spot that I... Oh, maybe it was the medical front that I went to. It was about... But anyways, you can see here, it's just on and on. Yes, this is it. German treatment. No. Gas warfare. Where did I go to? But anyways, it was about this... what's her name here? I can find out her name. Caroline Moorehead and Dunant's Dream, and she talks about yes, Meandering, Mike, massively interesting. Holy smokes! Well, like I said, it's in the description down there, and she starts in her book. She talks about. I'm just going to read it quickly. Two things I wanted to mention before we take off. One was, yet again, because we've been talking. Well, actually, you can't even see my thing, or can you? Can you see both? I'll let you see a bit of everybody or both of... How does that work? No, I don't want that. How do I do that? Oh, I see now. I get you. There we go. Ah, there we go. It was about the Balkans, and this is part of the quote. So not his full-on quote, but it's from Erich Ludendorff, and supposedly he mentioned this back back in 1915, this like last week, or this week that we're in. He said, "We will support them or be beaten because of the Balkans. We cannot allow them to be defeated." Erich Ludendorff, when they were mentioning that they really needed to start bringing in supplies, reinforcements and whatnot to help out the Austrians well, obviously they were scared to death of what was going to happen with the Balkans. So I thought that was interesting, since we've been yabbering on about that and trying to get into that. Once Meandering Mike was like, "Oh, I want to be Montenegro." "No, you can't be." "Okay, I'll be Albania." And then we start finding out about all that stuff, and then people starting to taking pot shots at their being opportunistic about Serbia and whatnot, especially now that I think the typhoid epidemic thing there has been lifted now. I think that's I mean, obviously there's still going to be quite a bit of what else did I want to mention quickly? Did I find her thing? It was about oh, darn it, I'm not going to be able to find it. But yeah, there was a lot of information about some of the Russian nurses that worked in the field hospitals, and also like the hospital trains. And I got to read up on like what some of the medical staff did, and a lot of the people that got sent to the front and weren't properly but I did find out on a side note that, oddly enough, it seems like perhaps because of the Russo-Japanese War, that here, I'm going to stop sharing and we'll just go back to that, and I'll let you guys go quickly. I think it's due to the fact, because of the Russo-Japanese War, the Russians started really cluing in on getting their medical facilities up to snuff, kind of thing. So they were actually really good for, like, I think a lot of doctors had a lot of, like, that type of... Their medical infrastructure seemed to be half decent. From what I've been... This is just a little tiddly bit from one source. But like I said, you can find that... link at the bottom there. I'm just starting to get there, but it seems like there's a massive amount of links to primary sources and whatnot, so that'd be wonderful. Okay, it's 10:07. I better get my button gear before Rob knocks on the door and he gets his hillbilly on me, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. And thank goodness, in a weird way, like I was saying, that we are rebooting, because I think I've already made some errors, but near Washington, but that'll be neat to see. But I'm still going to go, when we do the reboot, I'm still going to, like I was going to mentioning, I'm still going to try for that Trans Mississippi area, or the Trans whatever area. I just think that's such a cool name. So that's where I want to focus my attention on. Anyways, thank you again, guys. All I got to say is every single comment, anybody that even participates, I just absolutely, obviously love seeing you guys. And I've mentioned this before. What do you think is giving me extra motivation to continue researching, and to give me a kick in the pants sometimes to keep going, learning about World War I and so on and so forth. Not to mention how many times, just from comments or just from the interactions, that I'm able to find out things that you guys are telling me about, things that I never in a million years would have been able to find out. That type of stuff. Or the games that are, that it's not just Der Weltkrieg, so on and so forth. Oh my God, we're just, like I said, we're still scratching the surface, man. We've got ages to go here. So I hope you guys have a wicked day. What is it? 4 o'clock Eastern time is the War Room live stream, and then I'm assuming Not Jay is still going to crank out the Saturday night 9 o'clock Eastern night, which would be nice to see. I think it's more of a laid back, not as official Wednesday night thing. And that's it. Great to see you guys. Meandering Mike says ciao everyone, and yep, afterwards I'm going to, when Rob pops over here before the Civil War, we're going to go and take a look at the World Undone Serbia game and unzip it. Well, I've already unzipped it, took out the counters and everything, and we're just going to have a good old yabber on about that. Okay, oh my God, sorry, I just whacked Leo good. He's probably out like a light too. Thank you so much, William Harris. Thank you for teaching me about, oh my goodness. Oh my God, thank you, man. It's weird, like, you know what I mean? You're saying here too, and I'm thinking you know, well, how about this? We're teaching each other. That's the way I look at it. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great time. I'll see you soon. Bye.